Oh, welcome back to the Matrix. And into the Matrix, you are the Matrix. How's it feel, Neo? And today we got ourselves a banger. The squirrels are involved. Banger. Daily market news analysis. What is up? What is up? How's everyone feeling? Out of 10. Make sure you guys are spamming that like button, hitting that share so other people can spam that like button. We're going to talk about Ethereum, Bitcoin Dominance. We're going to talk about XRP, Bitcoin. And then we're going to get you guys' questions, comments, concerns. So without any further ado, let's bring the action. As of the time of recording, Bitcoin currently sitting at $119,962, sitting at the top of the range. The highest daily body close basically that we've ever had. Let's go on the 3-day. Is definitely the highest 3-day body close that we've ever had. The highest 5-day body close that we've ever had, and the highest weekly body close that we have ever had, ladies and gentlemen. So as far as daily posture, full on bullish posture for Bitcoin. 200 is at the bottom, then 100 moving average, then the 50, then the 20. That is the most bullish posture for Bitcoin. That's a very good thing. We had our bull flag, ABC correction. Really, we've had this happen a few times in a row. Bull flag, ABC correction, leg higher, bull flag, ABC correction, and we are perhaps working on our leg higher. We were in distribution over here, mark down, reaccumulation before starting the mark up. I am pretty bullish for altcoins in August. We could see Ethereum is just ramping, going crazy. Pretty neutrally bullish for Bitcoin. Neutrally bullish for Bitcoin. I do think that there's a decent plausibility that we make an all-time high. I'm not super you need to go long on Bitcoin right now or anything like that, but I'm decently bullish on Bitcoin. As far as Ethereum goes, looking really good. Clear breakout, clear all-time high for the year, and we are right there. We are right there, ladies and gentlemen. Within, what is the all-time high here? We're talking about 4%. Okay, that's nothing. We could do that while we're live tonight. You know what I'm saying? Now, we're getting a little hot. And also, again, we've talked about this. I need you to have the correct expectation. It is pretty rare that the first time you just bust through an all-time high, that you just bust through it, okay? I.e., example, right over here. And basically what I think is going to happen is the same sort of structure where Ethereum goes running up, makes a slight all-time high, and then backtest it. And in the grand scheme, this looks like nothing. This looks like a little blip on the radar, as we can see here. But that's a 34% correction. Now, I'm not anticipating it's going to be 34%, but I do think we are going to have a similar move for Ethereum where we have a slight all-time high, maybe as high as 5,500, followed by backtesting the prior range in September. That's exactly what I think is going to happen before running up into, November, where the real euphoria is going to be, in my opinion. Now, we can see, and we've talked about this, Ethereum being at 4,500, that is doing everything for Bitcoin dominance, is falling off a cliff in the most bearish posture right now. Very close. We've had a 20 crossing the 200. We're about to have the 50 crossing the 200. And then the next thing, which could happen in the next week or so, would be the 100 moving average getting below the 200. That puts us in the most bearish posture, in a posture of basically free falling. And that's what we're seeing. Okay. We're seeing that. We've been talking about this. I started talking about Bitcoin dominance being in distribution back in November of 2024. Okay? We have been patiently waiting. You have been told microphone's a little cloudy. I don't know. Microphone's a little cloudy. I don't know. Free falling. Sound good to me? Okay. We'll continue. All right. So we've been talking about this for months and months and months and months, and we are finally here at the doorstep. The dominoes are falling. All right. I would say we are clearly in phase 2. All right. Clearly. And not only are we in phase 2, I would argue we're at the end of phase 2. Okay. Where the money flow goes like this. If we look in the terms of the roller coaster ride, which is the cryptocurrency market, the longest part of the roller coaster ride, right? And I just want you to envision this so we can like really understand and comprehend. When you're riding the ride, right? That's the longest part of the ride. And then as the ride goes on, it goes quicker, faster. You do your loop-de-loops and pull, and then the ride's over. Okay? This part is from fiat to Bitcoin. That's the longest part of the ride. This entire, 3 years, we have been on that part of the ride. And, in fact, we have been on this ride for so long that people are like, I don't think there's any other part of the ride. It's just Bitcoin. That's it. Right? That's what they told you. Like, we've been on the ride for so long that they're like, you know what? I don't see any other part of the ride. That's the only part. That's it. It's just Bitcoin. There is no other part of the ride. But that's not true. So we go from fiat to Bitcoin. That is the longest part of the ride. That ride is over. Okay? Now you go into Ethereum and XRP. Ethereum on the doorstep of an all-time high. 2 months ago, do you know how many people were in my comment section when I was live saying Ethereum was dead? There's no way Ethereum goes to 7,200. Because that was my target back then, was 7,200. There's no way Ethereum is getting to 7,200. You can go and look at my videos. Actually, they're still up. Because I've been doing an Ethereum market update for the past, whatever. Every single day I make a video about Ethereum. I make a video about Bitcoin. I make a video about XRP. So we've been talking about this. 7,200, that's the next macro target. But we don't need it to go to 7,200 to go to the next part of the ride. The next part of the ride is the large caps. In my opinion, where we're at, we are, if this is the ride, this is your fiat ride going into Bitcoin, going into Bitcoin, going into Bitcoin, going into Bitcoin. Oh, Ethereum's waking up. XRP, right? That's the ride. And this is into large caps, mid caps. The longer that the ride goes, the shorter that each part of the ride continues. So in my opinion, we are about to transition from this part into the large caps. I'm looking at others. All right. Hopefully you guys like my demonstration. All right, let's look at XRP. Hopefully that makes it simple for you guys so you can understand. XRP currently sitting at $3.27, and then we'll get into your guys' questions, comments, concerns. I do want to point out though, Bitcoin dominance 59%. Who thought that back in January, or excuse me, June, when we were at 65%, who thought that just, 45 days later, we would be at 59%? Who thought that? I did. Who would have thought? Not me. That's a meme. All right. So we had our accumulation. This is the start of the markup. You have a big bull flag, ABC correction, break from the bull flag, back test of the bull flag. That's a really good thing. Also, same thing, full on bullish posture, just like what we talked about with Ethereum. Ultimately, my targets for XRP are $5, $8, $12. Not really that sexy to me from here. I got it at 30 cents. We already did a 10x. So cool, but it is part of the game. So with that, let's get into you guys' questions, comments, concerns. How's everyone feeling? Thank you for the roses, Gav's dad. I appreciate you, brother. Make sure you guys are dropping a follow, hitting the share so other people can spam the like button, hit the share. Says, yo, good evening, Ski. It's fine. No issues. What day are you selling in September before the lunar eclipse? Don, I appreciate the question. it's not really like, that's not really what I'm going to be doing. I will be looking for, I'll put it to you like this. What I do as an analyst, as an investor, as a trader, what I do is I outline scenarios and I look for opportunities to take profit. I look for opportunities to buy, right? That's what I do. Okay, so what I don't do is September 7th at 3 p.m., the market will be having a flash crash. I am going to come in like a ninja, and I am going to buy, and then we're going to go long until November 12th at 1300. No, it's not like that. So, I will be looking for opportunities in August. If my portfolio does where I think it's going to go in August, I'll be looking for opportunities to de-risk if they present themselves to me. If they don't, I've been patient for 3 years. I have no problem being patient for another 3 months, if that makes sense. So if the opportunity presents itself, I will de-risk in August. If it doesn't, so be it. If we get a back test and we get opportunities in after or on the lunar eclipse, so be it. I will take action. If not, I will continue to be patient. Hopefully that answers your question. Excited to get to 138K. All right, let's go back to... Let's see. Sound is fine to me. Free falling. What's the next resistance for Bitcoin Dominance? My targets for Bitcoin Dominance have been low 50s, high 40s. Solana, my target for Solana is 420, 510, 600. Says first here, according to my chart, it was Dano. What's cracking, Ski? Sound is good. When do memes rip? Memes are going to rip with everything else. You could count it as low market caps, though. Says you're the only consistent crypto creator. I appreciate that. I do my best. I don't get everything right, but I'm slow moving. I'm very process based, system based. I use my intuition, but I'm not going to be moved by it, right? Especially one thing that you're not going to catch me, whether I'm right, wrong, or indifferent. You won't catch me being moved by fear or being moved by greed. I'm just not going to move like that. And I think that's my biggest strength as like an analyst. Whatever the noise is around me, I'm not going to be moved by that. Now, that doesn't mean I'm always going to be right. I put my track record up against anybody, but I've had things wrong. But I get to my process, I get to my targets by process system, by my analysis. I will not be arriving there based off of fear, based off of price action, based off anything like that. So if you want someone to confirm your bias and tell you sweet nothings when we're pumping that you bought the top, and that's fine. I'm the wrong channel. And if you want someone to tell you that the sky is falling when we're at the bottom, and it's the worst thing, I'm also the wrong channel. Is Dominance only going down because of ETH and XRP currently? Because that's the ride, that's the portion of the ride that we're on. But the next part, and we're kind of seeing it a little bit, right? If I go to crypto bubbles, like ADA, I know I got a notification that ADA is up today, right? So let's see, what's the biggest one up today? So Farcoin, Arrow's actually, Link is up 10% today. Solana is up 10% today. Aave's up 8% today. So like, is ETH and XRP, Cardano up 8% today? Is ETH and XRP the biggest factors of dominance falling down? Absolutely. Are they the only factors? No. Have they been the majority factors up to this point? Yes. Will they be the majority factors in the next season, on the next episode of Dragon Ball Ski? No. Find out next time on Dragon Ball Ski. Will Bitcoin dominance fall, continue to free fall? Will it be because of Ethereum? Will the power levels get over 9,000? No, that's enough. Sorry, Ski. I'm late. ETH targets, same. They've been the same. 7,200. My medium case scenario. 12,000. My bull case scenario. Sad about Flux, Rose, XYO, Sonic. That's weird, bro. That's a weird take because 2 months ago when Ethereum was at 2,000, was it sad about Ethereum? I'm pretty sure it was. Weird take, bro. Weird take. Was it, or how about in April when Bitcoin was at 75K? Was it sad about Bitcoin then? What's sad is your lack of patience of understanding how the roller coaster ride is played, of how the game is actually played. That I gave a full lesson. I gave you a full lesson on how the roller coaster ride of money flow is. I gave a full in-depth master class right here, and you just can't comprehend it. That's the sad part, actually. Others should 10x. I don't think so. I think others will 5x from here. Is Quant dead? No. Quant is in accumulation. Full TA on ADA. Ski, I got you. How's Sonic looking? It tumbled a bit. It made a higher low. I wouldn't even call it a tumble. It put in a higher low in accumulation, which is the end. When you start getting higher lows, I'll show you this, actually. Let's go to Sonic. I'll show you other examples of when it's deep in accumulation and then you start putting in higher lows at the end of accumulation, or I'm not even going to call it at the end of accumulation. So it's up 4% today, which is a year of stock market gains or a year of bond market gains. But the tumble was a higher high and then a higher low, which is the same thing that we've done the last couple of times. I want to show you what it looks like when you, so here's the last accumulation. This is Wyckoff accumulation, distribution, markdown, accumulation. Okay. So when you're skidding down, this is any chart, not Sonic. Okay. This is structure. We're talking about structure. We're not talking about Sonic, but even though we're looking at Sonic, when you're skidding down and then you're making lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. And then let's put this on the 3 hour, because we got to kind of zoom in here to really show this. Right. Here we go. So it looks like that. You go into your spring, and then you start putting in higher highs and higher lows. These are the end. This is what the end of accumulation looks like. At the finality of accumulation. All right. So you sort of pivot. You go from on a downtrend, just skidding, and then you pivot, going to an uptrend. Higher highs, higher lows. All right. That's exactly what it did. Okay. You're skidding, you pivot, LPS, C, phase C, and then you start putting in higher highs and then again, higher lows again. We found support off the 200, very coiled up on the moving averages. This is a sign of a big move to come. So there you go. That is my analysis. We are deep in Wyckoff accumulation. And by the way, I'm just going to show you this. We're going to show you this real quick. Take a mental note. Take a mental note of the structure. You don't need to be a nerd like me. Here you go. Take a mental note of the structure, and then let's go back. Okay. Tell me that this is not the same. Corporate wants us to find the difference. They're the same picture. Okay. This is Wyckoff accumulation. That's a bottoming structure. Not only is it a bottoming structure, we're at the end. We're over here. Phase E is the markup. In my opinion, the sign of strength will take us to about $8 million market cap. And then the full on euphoria will take us north of 40 million. ultimately my targets for Sonic are 7.5 cents is my beard number. I'll shave my beard if we don't reach that. 10 cents, $1, $5.89. Those are my low, medium, high. It says LOL fart coin. I could be helpful to you. Great. Do you think Bitcoin Dominance will find support? Sure. It's not going to fall in a straight line. So there you go. Flux and Sonic just giving you more. Yeah, it's just an accumulation. That's it. Nothing different. Is that an indicator? Wyckoff is not an indicator. Wyckoff is the main methodology that I use to determine bottoms. I'll give you another example, right? Let's go. I'll give you guys a little bit of a master class today just because I feel like it. All right. I'll give you another example. So Wyckoff shows you not only the top, but also shows you the bottom. Okay. All right, so here Bitcoin gave us both over the last, let's zoom out a little bit. This is something that I taught on my Patreon, on my Telegram for the members, okay? So Bitcoin gave us both, right? So this is your markup. This is distribution. In your distribution, you have your buying climax, your secondary test, your UT. The UT goes higher than the buying climax, okay? This is textbook distribution. That's what a topping structure looks like. Distribution is a topping structure. Buying climax up thrust goes higher than the buying climax. UTAD goes higher than the up thrust. That is textbook topping structure. That's what Bitcoin gave us back in December. Okay. And then you go into the markdown and you go into accumulation, which is a bottoming structure. The opposite of distribution is the bottoming structure. Okay, so here you go. You have your selling climax, and it's a trick for traders because traders will see a downtrend and they will think it's going to continue down. But that's exactly textbook Wyckoff. Selling climax, secondary test in phase B goes lower than the selling climax. Your spring textbook goes lower than the secondary test in phase B, right? Now you zoom in a little bit. That is exactly what we got in April. And on my mama, brethren, April 7th, I said the bottom is in. Bitcoin was at 75K. Not only did I say that the bottom is in, I said we're going to $118,000 or I will shave my beard. That's what I said. Bro, what in the world? I'll show it to you. What the? Did I spell my own name wrong? I sure did. I just saw a fake account. That's crazy. Here you go. April 7th. And what am I showing? I'm showing Wyckoff accumulation. April 7th, 2025. April 7th, 2025 was right here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Let's circle it so we can show it. This stuff works. Let's zoom out. That was April 7th. Right there. All right. Not only did I say the bottom's in, boys, and I gave my reasoning why, but I also said in the same thread, I said that, shout out to Jeremy. He said, put your money where your mouth is, because he knows that he's followed me for a while. He knows that I will bet my beard when I have high convictions. I said, yes, the bottom's in. $118,000 next, or I will shave my beard at April 7th, 2025. April 7th, 2025. Okay? This stuff works, okay? I don't need to. This is 100 years old. I didn't make this up. All right? So there you go. The whole point of that was I think that Sonic is deep in accumulation. All right. Video evidence. The Web, thanks for the $5 donation, brother. I appreciate you. Web gets it. You buy Bitcoin in the bear market, move profits, ETH, Bitcoin, take profits, levels, then sell ETH, move large, medium, low caps, repeat. Ski, what's up, brother? Thank you for the donation. Ski the man. Subski, link below $20 soon. Ski, is it normal to be underwater this time of the cycle? My wife's boyfriend wants to know. Continue to DCA into the... I mean, you check your inflation, right? That could be a reason. Can you check out house, fam? I got you, brother. Sonic is going to absolutely fly when it gets into the markup phase. I agree. Can you explain why Vchain is lagging behind everything? Let's check out Vchain. I just think it's... I don't know that it's like lagging. It's just still accumulating. It already had a big move over here. I just think that the next move, too, is going to be even higher than this one. The same thing that happened for Bitcoin, right? It's back in accumulation again. Same thing that happened for Bitcoin in, 2013. That's my example for Vchain. I have very high convictions for this. So here you go. Same structure right here. On the top is Vchain. On the bottom is Bitcoin. Same thing. Parabolic rise, distribution, markdown, accumulation, sign of strength, back test, reaccumulate, move higher than the sign of strength, back test, reaccumulate, and then you start chopping your way higher, which is what we've been doing. Just grueling our way up, making higher lows. Again, when you start making higher lows at the end of accumulation, that's a sign that you're going to break out soon. Now, in this case, Bitcoin got rejected off of the all-time high a few times. That could happen. It could even be like, the retracement, 15 cents. Sure. But then it goes crazy parabolic. All right. That's the markup. Dynex prediction. ICP is the same as Vchain. It's just in accumulation. It's just in accumulation. Sonic, Kihi, Doge, high, medium, low predictions. So my targets for Sonic are 10 cents, $1, $5.89. My targets for Hihi are 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents. For the next leg, my targets for Doge are 42, $1.11, 240. Michael says, Ski, can I set up another Zoom call with you when available? Michael, you sure can. Hit me in the DMs, brother. By the way, if you want to set up a personalized exit strategy, I have 5 slots available for a one-on-one call. With a personalized exit strategy, one-on-one call, lifetime access to my course, lifetime access to my Telegram group. So if you're interested in getting a personalized, not some cookie cutter, here you go, strategy, you can hit me in the DMs for that. I will still never message you first. Saucer swap predictions, sir. I got you, bro. Haven't looked at saucer swap in a while. Still a fan. It's accumulating nicely. It already full on retraced. So the only thing left is just going into price discovery, 37 cents to 60 cents. Like it already full on went to the 618 Fibonacci, 16 cents. ETH all-time high today. It could happen. We're only 4% away. We're 4% away. DOT, my prediction for DOT is 20, 40, 100. Thank you for the gift. My prediction for Ethereum is 7,200. My targets since like 2022 have been 3,300, which we already hit, obviously, 7,200 and 12,000. Those have been my 3 targets for Ethereum. Those have been my 3 targets for Ethereum. $1.11 for LCX, brother. Make sure you guys are spamming that like button, hitting the share so other people can spam that like button. Solana and Chainlink. My targets for Solana are 420, 510, 600 XRP. My targets still to this very day since 2022, when XRP was at 30 cents, my targets have been $5, $8, $12. To this very day, my targets for XRP at $3.33 are still $5, $8, $12. All right, let's check out Dynex. Dynex is doing pretty good the last couple of weeks. Again, deep in accumulation, and what are we seeing? This is what I anticipate is going to happen for Dynex. I think it's going to hit the sign of strength, which is about 15 cents. We got to get above the 200 here. That's a big level. We can see it's gotten rejected a couple of times. Wouldn't be weird to come back to 5 cents. That might be a good entry, actually, because that would be a back test of this little range over here. So it wouldn't be weird. We've gotten rejected a couple times off the 200, but really what we need to see, I want to see this red moving average we can see here. I want to see this get on top of the blue one, which is the 20 on top of the 200. That puts you in a bullish posture, and then we want to start seeing daily body candles above the 200 moving average, which right now is about 8.6. That would put us in the most bullish posture. And it's kind of flirting with it right now. They're in the talking stages, right? But nothing yet. But the next bigger move is going to be about to 15 cents. And I think at least retracing to 69 cents. Bare bones is what I think is going to happen for Dynex. But we could go as high as $3.33. Ski, how do you sell your crypto if you want to convert it to cash? Just USDC. I think Coinbase, like, you know, they've had issues. They have their issues, but I use Coinbase for off-ramping generally, or I'll use Uphold for off-ramping. Those are the main two that I use for off-ramping, or I'll use PayPal for off-ramping, or even Venmo. So all of those are acceptable ways. But if you just send USDC to Coinbase, you can get a debit card and you can just spend it, or you can just withdraw it to your bank. PayPal has PayPal USD, so you can convert your crypto into PayPal USD, send it in. You can convert it to your bank like that. There's a lot of ways of off-ramping to your bank. There's a ton of ways, and in fact, I recommend figuring out a few. Uphold offers 4.5. Yeah, same thing for Coinbase. It's like 4.5 for USDC. That's what I do. Like, I didn't know about PayPal. Yeah, that's kind of more recent. It's only the last 6 months they started doing that. You can send in Bitcoin. You can send in Solana. You can send in Ethereum. But a trick is, if you send in any of those, they charge you a decent... they charge a decent... upcharge on that, But a trick is to do it off exchange, like i.e. on your wallet or on a DEX, swap whatever crypto into PayPal USD and then send that in. They don't charge you at all for that, other than like if you want to do a fast withdrawal. But if you want to wait the 3 business days, it's free. But they charge you $0 with PayPal USD, which is just $1, to go from PayPal USD to US dollars. That would be my like little pro tip to avoid a fee. That's the cheapest way to do it, is convert it off chain. Like example would be like Solana. You would convert Solana to PayPal USD on the Solana network, send it into PayPal, and then they charge you $0 to convert that to US dollars. So that is a good thing to do. Let the cream rise to the top. What do you think of Oasis Rose? I like Rose. I think it has good potential. 15 cents, 38 cents, 88 cents, low, medium, high. Doesn't Uphold have a daily withdrawal limit of 15K? I think it's 25K. But I use a bunch of different stuff. I use PayPal. I use Venmo. Like Venmo does crypto now. PayPal does crypto. Coinbase is a good off ramp. There's lots of ways. There's more than one to skin a cat. Ski, do you speak Polish? If you're Polish, no, I don't. I wish I did. I need to learn. Next out for ADA. Let's look at ADA. Same chart for ADA as like Vchain, same as Theta, and we're seeing too the higher highs and the higher lows. I think it's literally right at the end of accumulation. So the next micro target is $1.88, but my targets are 2,468. You can also swap your coins on Exodus. You can swap your coins on Exodus. You can swap them on Ledger. You can swap them on Phantom. You can swap them on Soulflare. There's lots of ways of doing it. What are some coins you would not suggest investing in? To me, any coin, I'm going to hurt some feelings, but any coin that has, I'm going to give you a principle. Right? How about that? And I'll give you one example. All right. Any coin that has a market cap to FDV value that is larger than 40%. So ideally, we want the FDV and the market cap to be as similar as possible. So an example is this coin has a market cap of 1.8 billion and the FDV is 5.1 billion. Okay? What that means is there's lots of dilution to happen. Price equals supply plus demand. So if they're diluting the supply, that's an uphill battle. So that if it's more than 40% discrepancy, so I'll give you an example of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's market cap is 2.39 trillion. The FDV is 2.5 trillion. So what does that represent? That means there's still Bitcoin that are going to be mined. There's still going to be a little bit of inflation, but it's less than gold's inflation, right? It's very, very small percentage. The rest of this is going to take 140 years to be mined, right? So you want it to be as close to the market cap as possible. If it's a wider margin than 40%, for me personally, that is the threshold where I think it is not worth the investment, because that means that the inflation on the coin is more than the inflation on the US dollar, right? So I'll give you another example, like Cardano's market cap, 29 billion, FDV 37 billion. Again, within margin, within 40%. That's good. Let me give you some more examples of like some good examples and maybe some not so good examples. What else? Uniswap. Market cap. So like Uniswap is close, but not quite, 40%. 7.2, 11 billion. But it's still within margin. It's a pass fail. Okay. I know a lot of coins that are terrible inflation, like Pi is an example. And what it means is like they're just going to be dumping supply on your head. And it's going to be an uphill battle. So Pi, $3 billion market cap, $39 billion FDV. What does that mean? That means that they're going to dilute the supply 10 times over its lifetime. For every one token, you're going to need 10 tokens to equal that one. No, thank you. So, like, that principle will save you a lot. Hopefully that makes sense. Vchain's FTV. There you go. Good. So now you're asking the right questions. Let's go. Why am I bullish on Vchain? Well, I like the chart a lot. Let's check out. This tells you, like, is the company, is the project dumping supply on your head? On your head, duh. You got to put the duh. Because it's like, duh, why didn't I think of this? 2.2 billion, 2.22 billion. Almost nothing. Literally almost nothing. 99.16% of the total supply is already circulating. I like that. That means I only need to worry about TA. I don't need to worry about supply dumpage. That's great. Fantastic. That's better than Bitcoin. Is Vchain a better investment than Bitcoin? I don't know about that. But the tokenomics, very good. He says, wow, beautiful. Bro is stressing. Thanks, Ski. Ski, in your opinion, is there more expensive in ICP right now? In your opinion, are there more expensive in ICP? I don't know what you're asking me, brother. How about Ondo? Is it really bad inflation? I'm gonna hurt some feelings. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, back in November, back in December, some coins that I never bought the hype, never, not one time did I drink one cup of Kool-Aid, was Ondo, was Sui, was Arrow. Arrow's up 18% today. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean it's all bad. It doesn't mean it can't have gains. All right, so here's Sui. Market cap 13 billion, FDV of 38 billion. For me, that's a no. Ondo. By the way, yeah. Where's Ondo? That was the question, Ondo. Doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means you're fighting inflation. 3.3 billion, 10 billion FDV. For me, that's a no. That's a fail. It doesn't mean it's not going to have good ROI. It doesn't mean it can't have returns. It means it adds another layer of complexity in a space that is already abundantly complex. This is why, like, I never drank the Kool-Aid on Arrow. Not one cup did I drink on Arrow. Does that mean I hate Arrow? Does that mean I literally hope that I am face meltingly wrong about Arrow to the point where you guys can laugh at me? On everything, that's what I hope happens. Genuinely. Like, I'm not even kidding. I literally hope that is the outcome. That you guys, like, Arrow has the most face meltingly gains that you guys are, like, laughing at me. That's what I hope happens. But I never drank the Kool-Aid on Arrow, and that's why. It's because of tokenomics. $1 billion market cap, 2.1 billion. So it's not even that bad, to be honest. Like, it's almost within threshold, actually. So maybe if I just, like, bend the rules a little bit, Arrow could actually fit into there. So that's not even that bad. So maybe I misspoke a little bit on Arrow, but still, that's pretty high. Anyways, again, I would love to be just so wrong that you guys laugh at me, because I don't have any. It's fine. Like, I'm not going to FUD it. You know what I mean? I'm telling you what has worked for me. What's worked for me is just taking inflation out of the equation as much as possible. So that doesn't mean that stuff doesn't pump. You know what I mean? By the way, Arrow did what did it do? I'm just sharing with you what is true for me and my process. That doesn't mean that the process is always right. That doesn't mean that. What it means is, by the way, I missed a. What did I miss over here? A 26x. Fantastic, bro. Like, nana boo boo, stick your face in doo doo ski. 26x. You know what I mean? But that's my process. That's how I look at things. So what I think is left for Arrow is about a 2x. A 2 to 4x. That's what I think is left for Arrow. Can ICP 2x by the end of the year? I would be shocked if ICP doesn't 2x by the end of the year. Yes. I would be shocked if it doesn't happen. I would literally be shocked. Like, you would just go look at me and I'd be like, gasp and ski. What's wrong, ski? ICP didn't double. We are literally right at the 200 moving average. Once we get above that, that's full-on bullish posture. Right? By the way, people are like, it's lagging behind. We're uptrending. It's making higher lows and higher highs. We just need to get above the 200 moving average. That's a huge level. That's a massive level. All of the moving averages are super coiled up. So what is the number for ICP? It's at $5. I would be shocked if it's not at $10. Yes, I would literally be shocked if it's not at $10. Again, like, we can do the math. $3 billion. No inflation. Zero. Done. Nada. Not some, not a little. None. None. Zero. 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 That means you just look at TA. There is no other variables. It's just TA. I sold all of my Arrow yesterday. So glad out of it. Are you talking about Watson? That's how I learned about Watson. Honestly, I made a video saying the exact same thing that I just talked about right there, about how I didn't love Arrow. I wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid on Arrow because of the inflation, and he made a rebuttal to that video, but he did so in a respectful way where I respected his process and I disagreed with his outcome. Like, he was in the video, he was bullish on Arrow and he gave his reasons why. I didn't agree, but I respected how he got there, and he wasn't like emotional about it, and he wasn't like, this creator's an idiot. He was respectful, he was process based, and so I was like, oh, this is a cool dude. So that was my experience on how I learned about William Watson, because he made a rebuttal to my video on Arrow. So he was bullish, I was not. We'll see. It's gotten better. What are your current value plays left? My main man, Ski. You like DOT? I do like DOT. XYO 10, 15, 20 cents. He's bullish on Morpheo. I don't know anything about Morpheo. Let's check out the tokenomics on Morpheo. Because, like, my process is always the same. The first thing I look at, I promise you on everything, is inflation. That is the most important thing. You should not pass go until you've looked at inflation. Because it doesn't matter how much on-chain stuff is happening, if they're dumping supply on your head, it doesn't matter. If they are curing cancer, if they're dumping supply on your head, I am pumped that they are curing cancer. But if they're dumping supply on your head, it's not a great investment. If they are turning water into wine, I'm pumped about that. But if they're dumping supply on your head, it's not a great investment, right? So we have to separate what are they doing, who's using it, versus like the most basic principles of economics are supply plus demand equals price. So the most fundamental thing that you should be looking at is, what is the supply? That's it. Like, why is Fartcoin a $1 billion market cap? Like, what the hell does Fartcoin do? Nothing. But it has good tokenomics. My brother is over here laughing like he thinks I'm making up Fartcoin. It's a real coin. And it doesn't do fart. Doesn't even fart. All right, let's look at Morpheo. I got distracted. Yep, no, it's a no for me. Again, the same process. The process is the process is the process is the process. I don't care how many people are using Morpheo. I don't care. I don't care what the on-chain data is. I don't care. I don't care if they're going to help Jesus come back and save us all. I don't care. Price equals supply. 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 Plus demand. 719 market cap, FDV 2.2 billion. Not egregious. A no for me though. That's more than a double. There's only 32% of the circulating supply. So you got it, like they're going to dump 66% of the supply on your head. That's a no for me. That's a hard no. How many times do we have to keep teaching you this lesson, old man? No, don't fall for that. It might 20x, but I'm telling you, it's a harder, it's an uphill battle, right? And crypto's already hard enough. So I just take that out of the equation. Do deep TA. My broski, consolation, yes or no? I don't mind consolation. What's hard about crypto? What's hard about crypto is there's so much damn noise in this space, and it's hard to decipher what is truth, what is not, right? So let's go on a time machine. Let's be real with each other, right? So we can learn and grow. Let's keep it a buck so we can learn and grow, right? Can we be real? Can we be real with one another? Right? Here for now? Can we be real with each other? How much nonsense was being perpetuated that we were going, the tariffs are causing the greatest recession that you've ever seen? April 7th. 75K. By the way, the best time you could have bought Bitcoin in the last 6 months. The last year, the very best time you could have bought Bitcoin was April 7th, 2025. How much noise? How much nonsense? How much fear? How much I'm selling everything, I'm out was there? That's why it's difficult, because people listen to too much. There's too many chiefs in the kitchen. There's too many chefs in the kitchen. Not enough cooks. There's too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Right? Am I cherry picking? Like, is this the only example? Absolutely not. How about the ABC correction? Back to 98K. We're going to 92. That's it. How about every stinking creator that I can remember, when Bitcoin pulled back to 49K, Japan cut their race. The only thing I was hearing, the only thing that I was hearing, I need you to understand, they were talking about a recession. That's it. Do you understand that 49K was the best price you could have gotten? Japan cut their rates right here, or did something. Sometimes maybe I get it confused because guess what? I'm not a fundamentalist. They cut the rates, they raised the rates. I don't remember what they did. They did something with their rates. Okay, right here. Bitcoin pulls back from 69K all the way to 49K. The sky was falling. That's the difficult part about crypto, is if you don't have enough belief and conviction and fundamental basis for why it is that you're moving, you can be moved off of nonsense. That's what's difficult about crypto. And guess what? The more it pumps, the more noise there's going to be. Okay? The more noise as we go, more and more euphoric, guess what? There's going to be drop shippers. Nah, bro, for real. I was in crypto in 2021, I promise you. There's going to be Madden players. Nah, bro. I've had Bitcoin since like 2017, trust me. There's going to be retail flippers. A lot of noise. A lot of noise. Okay? And listen, am I standing here today telling you I am the end all be all know all tell all for the right price? No. I get things wrong. But judge me. And this is my advice to you when you're like trying to decipher what's true, what's not. What you need to do is go back in time, because if they're a content creator, they have a catalog. Great. Go back and look at the worst possible times. Here are some key dates for you. Judge me by these standards. Judge the creators by these standards. Because I don't care what you are when it's awesome. What are you when life hits you in the mouth? That's what you really are. Don't give me this nonsense about, well, this happened and it made me do this. No, you were revealed to what you really are. That's what happened. When the spotlight got on you, you got revealed. You got exposed. All right, so hold me to this standard and hold every crypto creator to this standard. What are you in the worst times? That's what you really are. All right, I'm going to give you some dates. April 7th, write them down. Take notes, class. April 7th, 2025. Were they bullish? Were they bearish? Were they telling you to sell your crypto, or were they telling you that they were buying? What were they doing? April 7th, 2025. All right. August 4th, 2024. Were they telling you recession? Did the words recession utter their mouth? But the great and the recession. Did those words utter their mouth? All right. All right. 9/11. 2023. The worst 9/11 in the United States history. Not really. That's a joke. It's a terrible joke. 9/11. 2023. Bitcoin pulls back from 31K all the way back to $24,000 with the war in Russia. What were they telling you? Were they telling you that we were going to 12K? Were they saying that Bitcoin cannot possibly survive World War III? What were they saying? 9/11, 2023. What were the words that were coming out of their mouth? Judge me by that. Judge them by that. It's not a competition, but I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to put you on game so you know who the hell is just spewing noise and who has substance. March 10th, 2023. Silicon Valley Bank goes to zero. Where's my sell the news and you will lose chart? I got the wrong damn chart here. Trade the news, you will lose. Silicon Valley Bank goes to zero. 3/10/2023. Bitcoin pulls back from 25K all the way back to 20K. Were they saying that we were going to 10K, going to 12K? Were they bearish? Were they saying, sell everything, we're going to 10K, sell everything, Bitcoin cannot survive the banks going to zero? The whole entire point of crypto in the first place, by the way, did they say that Bitcoin was going to 12K? Did they say that Bitcoin was going to 10K? Did those numbers utter their mouth? What's the date? March 10th, 2023. November 8th, 2022, FTX went to 0. Did they tell you we're going to 10K? Did they tell you we're going to 12K? What'd they say? I know what I said. I said I was buying. I said I'd shave my head if we went lower. I know what I said here. I said I was buying. I'll shave my head if we go lower. I know what I said. I said I was buying. I'll shave my head if we go lower. The bottom is in. Not only that, I said we're going to 48K. How about Japan? I know what I said. I said I was buying. I'll shave my head. I'll shave my beard. I said we're going to 80K. The real number is 100K by Christmas. How about April 7th, 2025? What did they say? I know what I was saying. The bottom's in. All right? Judge them by the worst moments, because that's what you really are. Judge me, judge them by the worst moments, because that's what you really are. There's a lot of noise in this space. Lots of noise. All right, thanks for the question, though, bro. Thanks for the question, brother. He says, I'm bored right now. Don't forget the carrots. Peanut the squirrel. All right, guys. Mini alts are down 40 to 70%. Yeah, bro. Same thing as last time, by the way. All right. I've talked about this. I'll do it one more time. I'll do it one more again for you. Okay. Again, the difference between perception versus reality. Excuse me. Our perception is alt season is canceled. By the way, who the hell is saying alt season's canceled? Take note. Remember the names. Remember. Who's telling you all season's canceled right now? Remember. Remember in November, please. Please, I beg of you. Please, sir, I beg you. Remember who the hell told you all season's canceled. All right. Let's talk about it. Let's do others. Others is, I'm assuming most, so if you don't know what others is every single cryptocurrency outside of the top 10. I'll just show you real quick so we know we're all on the same page here. All right? We're all on the same page here. So, you got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Tether, BNB, Solana, USDC, Dogecoin, Tron, Cardano. Others is a basket of coins with Chainlink on. Everything beyond Chainlink is in others. Okay, when you're saying down 40 to 70%, I assume that's what you're talking about, others, right? I assume. Okay, good. So we're all on the same page. Now, I have these dates circled here, okay? And this is an important date, not by time, but by structure. What does this represent? Okay, so I need to show you one more thing. That is a terminology of price discovery. Price discovery for Bitcoin is very important. And we've talked about the roller coaster ride in this live stream. We talked about the money flow of roller coaster ride. The longest part of the ride, right? The longest part of the roller coaster before you go, and you do all that crazy stuff, right? The longest part of the roller coaster ride of cryptocurrency is from dollars to Bitcoin. That is the longest part of the ride, okay? And when you go into price discovery, that is not an all-time high, but a full leg higher than the all-time high. By the way, price discovery for Bitcoin since 2022 was and is $118,000. Why am I telling you this? Bitcoin is presently in price discovery right now. Okay. Not an all-time high. An all-time high is not price discovery. Look, we can see over here, right here versus right here. This is the 2017 bull market. Here is in 2020. Slightly gets to an all-time high. Slightly gets to an all-time high. That is not price discovery. Price discovery is a full leg higher than the previous all-time high. That's what price discovery is. Okay? Why is that important? Because when we're thinking about the money flow from Bitcoin, from fiat to Bitcoin, then Ethereum. By the way, what's running right now? What was just at $2,000? How long ago was that? 2 years ago? 20 years? 2 months ago. Ethereum was at $2,000. All right. Hold on. Uh-oh. What happened? Are we live on TikTok? Are we good? Okay, good. I think we're good. All right. Bitcoin's in price discovery. The longest part of the ride is from dollars to Bitcoin, and then the ride starts to speed up. Now, I have circled right here is the previous time that Bitcoin goes into price discovery. A firm leg higher than the previous all-time high. The date is January 6, 2021. January 6, 2021. On the bottom is others. I have it circled. Okay, others is circled. Others, again, is everything outside of the top 10. That's what most people are referring to when they say alt season. Okay, now from the C19 crash until Bitcoin gets into price discovery, it was an over a 10x for Bitcoin. But Ski, it's all about Bitcoin. The alts are way behind, Ski. Ski, Bitcoin did a 10x. It's a Bitcoin only run, Ski. Sound familiar? Ski, the altcoins are at their bear market lows. What the hell? We haven't got nothing. They're at their bear market lows. Bitcoin's all the way up here, right? Stop me if you've heard it before. All right, now from price discovery, Bitcoin only does another 50%. That is it. From the C19 crash till it gets into price discovery, from there, it only does a 50% move. I have the same exact date circled right here. Let me show you what others does during the same time. But Ski, it's different. But Ski, it's Bitcoin only. But Ski, alts are at their bear market lows. But Ski, 13x. From the same time. Yo, what's up, Jay? But Ski. Follow and subscribe. Am I buying Rismus? I am not buying Rismus. I think we go to 200K, 250 this run. Plausible. My targets since 16K. My targets in 16K have been 118,000. Low case, check. 138, medium case, and 207 is my bull case scenario. Targets for LCX $1.11. Jasmine 10, 11, 12 cents. But Ski, how many trillions is geared to enter the space? Okay, good. This is the right question. So we can measure it too. And you should be. By the way, it's about to go in. So that would just be the total market cap, right? That is every single cryptocurrency currently at $4 trillion. By the way, since 2022, the total market cap is about to be in price discovery as well. Full on bullish posture, full on breakout. So my targets since 2022 have been 6.6 trillion and 8.8 trillion. We're about to touch my first one, 4.2 trillion. So 4.2, 6.6, 8.8. Those have been my low, medium, high. Now, I think we're probably going to go bare bones 6 trillion, 6.6 trillion. Doesn't sound like a lot. But the thing you need to understand with crypto, only a 69%, only a 1.2x. The thing you need to understand with crypto is the most liquid asset in the world. And we kind of view it like box brain of like this coin. So we have 8 trillion, right? This coin's going to get, it's going to get a billion. This coin's going to get a billion. This coin's going to get 10 billion. This coin's going to get 500 million. It doesn't work like that. In reality, it's going to be sloshing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So this 8.8 trillion is going to move around like 300 billion in reality. But that's the number, in my opinion. But skate. All right, guys. Reminder, I have 5 slots available for a one-on-one consultation. That is a video call, a personalized portfolio review, a personalized exit strategy where I take all of your cryptocurrencies and I give you targets to exit them based off of your goals, your timeline, your experience. So it's personalized. I have 5 slots available for this week. They fill up quick. So if you guys are interested in that, hit me in the DMs. It comes with lifetime access to my course, lifetime access to my Telegram group. But that's going to be it for this time. I'll be live roughly the same time tomorrow, generally 4 p.m. Central Time. That is going to be it for this time. I will never message you first. I love you, but I'm not going to ask you how's your trading going. Guess what? I got too much stuff going on. I don't care. We do not care. I care. But listen, I'm not going to message you. If somebody messages you first, those are scammers. It's not me. If you message me, I will message you back. I will never message you first. That's how you know it's not me. If you look up at the DMs and you say, there's a ski popping in and you didn't message ski, that's not me. If you message me, I will message you back. Okay? But I'm not going to message you first. Those are scammers. I'll be live tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central Time. Be there or be square. If you're square, you're not around. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Peace, love, prosperity, God first, God bless.